Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and we've gathered here again today, and we are going to talk about a film from 1966, and it's the fantastic Voyage. And we might as well let's go straight to Alex and Susan since they've got their mic unmuted.
Uh, the Fantastic Voyage, the story of discovery of the inside of a human body without CGI, without the scopic techniques of the current medical community, and an exploration inside of a body in a submarine. Very cool, very amazing, very fantastic, and I enjoyed the story quite a lot. I found so much of it was beautiful, but the music was a little much, and it's strange, but I tended to think that the music kind of reminded me a lot of Star Trek: The Motion Picture. The composer may have been heavily inspired by Fantastic Voyage for Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and maybe even the visual artist. Maybe that was also the same. I don't know, but it was pretty interesting. And one character actor who I like was in it, and that was Donald Pleasance. And he did a really brilliant job as someone who you thought was a goodie but ended up being a baddie, as I guess was his usual fare in that time frame. And so, yeah, here's Alex.
Yeah, I've seen this many times. I read the book. Not that I remember the book that well because it took many years, but it's been many years since I've read it. This was one of the first main epics, I think, and it was also trying to be scientific. There's some silly things in the movie, and the acting actually could have been a little better. But I don't know if they were trying to have them improvise or if they wrote it that way, because it reminded me a little bit of Lost in Space in a way, the bickering a little bit. And there was sexism, but again, it was the 60s. And Raquel Welch, unfortunately, is not really a great actress. But at least in this movie, she's not just an object per se, or a celebrity per se. But again, they didn't really give her a lot to do either. But like I said, I've always liked the movie. It's not too hard to follow. Visually, it's nice. And as I said, I mean, there's movies that you go to see for a visual experience. And that's mostly what this film is. I didn't like the logo, if you want to call it that, of all these initials and stuff like that. But like I said, it's a good movie.
You mean the one on
Right, it's the
or on the business, yeah.
Right, the miniature force, whatever it is. But like I said, it's a good movie.
Right, short but sweet. Let's go to Lee.
Right, yeah. I remember seeing this years ago. I mean, it's on TV nearly every year, this film. What can I say? It takes a while to get going. A lot of talking at the beginning, scientifically based in the secret base wherever they are. But so once they get into the body, and the miniaturized and go into the body, it's visually, it's brilliant to look at. For 1966, the effects of the plasma and the blood cells and stuff like that. Brilliantly done. I don't know if this is one of the first movies what used that sort of effect. I don't know, to be honest. For me, Donald Pleasance is the outstanding actor in this. Any film he's in, he's brilliant in. Yeah, he's well known for playing the villains in movies. Yeah, Raquel Welch, I just don't know why she was in this, to be honest. She didn't do much. And as you said, she's not known for being one of the world's best actors, but at the time, I think this was when she was in a heyday, and Raquel Welch mostly thought it'll pull. It's a big name. It'll pull the punters in to come and view it. It's an enjoyable movie. It also back in the 70s, I think, it created a TV cartoon for TV, Fantastic Voyage, a short-lived cartoon series. I vaguely remember that one. Yeah, it's not a classic movie. It's not a bad movie. It's a mediocre movie. The story's you can understand it. It's not hard to follow, and it has influenced several sci-fi stories genres. Doctor Who for one. Was it Invisible Enemy? And Ali reminded me the other day of
Into the Dalek. Yes, it's inspired two Doctor Who's.
Yeah, so you can see where they got their idea from. But yeah, it's an enjoyable watch, but as I say, it just took a while to get going. Too much dialogue at the beginning, I think, to be honest. But that's just me. But it's not a bad movie. Over to you, Alid.
Yeah, it's a classic in a sense that it's remembered and it's copied a lot, like Doctor Who's copied it, it's taken inspiration from it. But you've also had things like The Simpsons, and I'm sure, Family Guy have probably done a sketch of it as well. But I remember the one in The Simpsons quite well when they did a take on this. So I have known of this film. I've just never seen the film. So then when it was chosen, I knew what film it was. And I thought, right, it's starting off, we've got an action sequence, right, this looks quite interesting. And then after that action sequence, you have the little intro with the typing letters going across the screen and all that, and the man in the chair with his eye and everything like that. And then the film starts properly, and it's talk, 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 talk. And it's so slow. I mean, it is like, it just goes on with the talking and the scenes are just drawn out. And I just don't know why it's not a bit quicker. It didn't need to be so slow. I think you could just take, like Lee says, it gets going slightly towards the end, but it takes a long time. Even when they're in the body, I found it quite slow. And it doesn't help that the acting is not that great. It's really not that great. Most of the acting in this, it's pretty poor. And Susan said it reminded her of the first Star Trek film. And I totally agree. I kept thinking about the first Star Trek film. And it was as boring as that. Because that was rather slow and boring. And this was a lot like it. And going into the body, Lee said the special effects were good. I mean, when you're watching it,
they really were. I mean, like the little antibodies that came and grabbed, or
not all the special effects were good.
I said for 1966 the effects were mostly leading of the day. But now
you could even see the blue shining on their faces from the blue screen.
Well, it wasn't bad that either. That they were in water, in the bloodstream or whatever.
Oh, I know. Yeah, in the bloodstream. Yeah. That's what the blood. Yeah, all that.
So
Yeah, the things coming towards them.
and the inside of the lungs looked real, and the inside of the eye duct, that was, or the inside of the ear with all, there was a lot of
Yeah, clips and
really
straws
right
and stuff.
stuff. It wasn't House. It wasn't House MD.
Wow.
I mean, they didn't dive down into the, but we also didn't have that kind of microscopic assisted surgery like that we do now, right?
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah. You
Again,
mean keyhole surgery? Keyhole.
Again, this is 1966, and obviously, that's the other
I
benefit
thought it was
of
2019.
that.
Movie.
The movie was 1966.
Oh right, okay.
The inspiration of Star Trek and the inspiration of Fantastic Voyage, and even space programs in real life, have helped miniaturize everything. I mean, remember, these are the days when they still were debating about radios and receivers and things, and they
That's
still
right.
were talking in science fiction about having communication devices, and now
the communication was done with Morse code.
right. Well, obviously, back in 1966, you didn't have a phone in your hand that actually is a mini computer and does more than a desktop computer.
Right.
And back then, they had computers that still took up, half a room, if not more than half a room.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not as pretty and fast and everything in 3 milliseconds or whatever that they do now. But they were trying, though. I mean, they were trying. And I mean, the ideas that they were saying did help some of the medical advancements that you have now, that you don't have to, cut it. Back then, if you had a problem, you had to have major surgery and major scars, and
Yeah, but they had real doctors working on the film, didn't they?
Right,
So I saw in the credits that there were real doctors credited.
right, but they didn't have scopes that you can now carry in your hand.
They had people consulting them, didn't they? That's what I meant. They had people.
They admitted that at the end of the end of the movie. But what I'm saying is, it's just like Star Trek, just like this movie. It helped sort of modernize and miniaturize and make a lot of items not so big and cumbersome and taking up half a room.
If they had scopes, they would have been able to do this with laser scopic technology.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know that.
Mean, yeah. Like that isn't done with submarines.
But
they wanted to get Donald Pleasance and Raquel Welch into a submarine inside.
Yeah.
The problem that I had was I just thought it was very slow and boring.
Well, yeah, but it's also.
And by the time it did kind of get going, I just totally was not interested.
Well, again,
even when they went, I thought, right, we're going into the body now. They've shrunk down, going into the body. Things are probably going to get going. I'm going to be more interested.
Well, again, remember, this is
slow and boring.
This isn't 1975 even. This is 1966. So back then, that was very futuristic. I mean, every decade.
Oh, I know that. Yeah,
they've tried to make it more, faster and things. Like I said, now you have everything in milliseconds. Just like now, the technology that I'm on the northeastern seaboard where you're in England, whereas back in 1966, this would be a very expensive phone call.
Oh yeah.
And other things. So if
$4 per minute.
Right. So if we wanted to talk back then in real time, it wouldn't have even happened, or we would have had to send tapes that you have to play with a big cumbersome machine and wait for 3 weeks or maybe even 3 months in the mail, and we wouldn't even be able to track it. Whereas now the technology is so good, you can just scan something in 3 seconds.
Yeah, but I'm not comparing the film technology-wise. I'm comparing the film entertainment-wise. And did it entertain me? And did it interest me? And was it good acting? Because I don't care what you say. It doesn't matter what era a film is from. Good acting is good acting. And to me, this did not have good acting.
No, it
did not have good acting.
It's very
I was
lost in.
so disinterested with all the characters in it.
Well, again, if they suggest to try to remake it, I wonder, how that would be.
They have remade it, haven't they?
I'm not 100% sure. But in any case, yeah, the acting was very lost in space. Yeah, it was actually. But again, that's the other issue because some people complain that the original Planet of the Apes was very melodramatic.
Well, yeah.
And Twilight Zone was very melodramatic.
But he's not.
But that had that had a lot of action in that, and that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not going to like every single movie or every single, song or whatever. I mean, there's, yeah, is it slow? Of course it is. Of course it, but again, this was before the era of everything in 5 milliseconds. I mean, remember, the internet didn't even catch on to the general public until 1994.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. An entertaining movie is an entertaining movie. There's a lot of films from the 60s that are very entertaining. And to me, this just wasn't entertaining.
Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking, I can't believe Lee's chosen this. I can't believe he's
Oh, is Lee going to get the blame now?
Yeah. Let's go to favourite moments. Let's go to Lee. Since he's having a big swig.
Favourite moments? Yeah, I do like the reveal of the villain, because it did make you think what's going on, who's sabotaging everything, because there was no giveaway to any of it. It just came out of the blue. And I don't care what Alid says. I thought the effects for the day were good. The lungs, the all that lot, and the blood streams, and was very good. One question though. They all escape, apart from the obvious one who got sort of dissolved by the antibodies or whatever it was. What happened to the submarine?
Yeah, my question exactly. Did the dude explode?
I was going to say, but as soon as the time was up, did the submarine become full size again, and the guy's head just?
Well, obviously not.
Explode out of.
Obviously not.
What does it say in the book?
I don't recall actually. But
It said that. It said that it was consumed by the antibodies in the body.
Ah, right.
But that's really funny because it's made to not be consumed.
Well, this is it. Yeah, I mean they've travelled through all the body and nothing's touched it, and then I was.
Yeah, but this film actually, some of this actually is coming true in a way, because now they got tiny miniature robots that you can only see like with a like with a strong magnifying glass, and they can put it in your bloodstream.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a movie.
It's obviously not on the NHS yet.
They said here that it wasn't ever remade. They tried to do it like 7 times, and the only thing that what was it? It inspired Inner Space, but that was the only one.
Oh, I thought it was remade. I don't know why I thought
So
that.
there's no TV movie or anything?
No.
Okay.
Oh, you said there was a TV movie, didn't you?
No, I said I'm asking if it was remade as a TV movie.
Oh, right. Oh, I thought you said earlier that it was.
Well, like I said, it might be the
TV show.
Was it ever remade into a TV movie, a TV show, or a TV miniseries?
It was a TV show, but
no, the animated one. Yeah, the animated one.
The cartoon series called Fantastic.
Because just like what is it? The other works of Michael Crichton, not the Jurassic Park, but the. Okay, 1 second. And the Andromeda strain. was remade.
It
So
wasn't. It wasn't.
what?
It never got remade.
I heard
they
you.
tried like a
I've heard
bunch
you.
of times.
It never got
So,
remade, Alex. Get out your mind, Alex.
Yeah, no, no, I understand because probably the rights, but I'm saying there were other movies and other high, quote unquote, high concepts like Jurassic Park and the Andromeda Strain and all that. The Andromeda Strain was remade, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what are your two favorite moments? You two, what are your favorite moments?
I mean, I guess the reveal is a little silly, but I mean, again, they barely had 30 minutes left. Oh dear.
Bless you.
Sorry.
My favorite moment was the bit where they're in the brain and all of the synapses are firing, and it actually looks like bright shiny lights, and I thought that was really fun.
Like I said, the movie itself isn't bad. Of course, it did remind me of the Danger Mouse episode as well,
That's good.
which the '80s one where they actually are right. There would actually be more resistance if you were the foreign body, even if you were injected into the body. That the antibodies and the other things would attack more. But like I said, it was trying to be high concept, so you have to give it a little bit of credit for, not having aliens, not having little green such and
Well,
such.
no, it was never going to have aliens.
Yeah.
It's never going to have aliens inside.
No, but you know what I'm saying. For the time they were trying to be, really different.
Yeah, no, it was never going to have aliens in the body.
Oh well.
No.
Well, maybe when they remake it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, they probably will. Yeah, you're probably right on that one. At least it'll make it more interesting.
Yeah.
Favorite moments. It ended.
Oh.
I really did not like it. I thought it was an absolute dull fest. But like I say, I do blame that down to the directing partly, but also the acting. Because to me, if you don't have good engaging actors, I just can't get into something. You've got to have good actors, like Bohemian Rhapsody, great actors. Good actors draw me in, and if you don't have a good lead and things like that, then I just can't believe it. It's like watching Doctor Who. A lot of Doctor Who, the special effects are very dated, but it's the performances that make it engaging because you forget everything around it. But once you've got poor performances, you take note of everything else, and that's the problem. Yeah. Let's go to final say and score. Alex and Susan.
All right. Well, I love what they've done, since then medically. Like the whole industry has shot forward in intellect and
Not in this group.
I'm talking about the medical community. I mean, people are able to treat illnesses or injuries with little microscopes and lasers on tubing that is injected into a body, and so that guy's brain surgery would have been easy peasy anymore. And I know that when they shrink down and they go inside the body for like House or whatever to show the medical insides of a body, these sorts of imagery inspired that. And so it can be used for good storytelling, but it really hasn't. I guess it wasn't as exciting as Alad had wanted, but I thought it was really lovely. But I also enjoy Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and I made that absolutely clear when we reviewed that back in the day. By the way, everybody, go back and watch our review of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, because maybe you'll find that Alad has a similar take on that. So anyway,
Yeah.
here's Alex.
You know, you've just told yourself to go and watch Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
So even in Wikipedia, they admitted to the 1968 animated series. They admitted that Doctor Who: The Invisible Enemy is stealing off of the
Yeah,
Fantastic
and
Voyage.
Into the Dalek.
Well, they didn't even admit that on Wikipedia. They also admitted that it was actually a film that took a loss, even though it was praised for its visual and its art direction and all that. Asimov did write a sequel as well, but it wasn't a direct sequel. It was a similar sequel. It won art
A book.
direction. It won art direction as far as the film is concerned, and eventually it did make $12 million, even though it lost almost $9 million when it first came out. But as I said, that was also the '60s, and not every film had to be 400 million like it is now
Oh God,
to make money. Apparently, it probably won't have a sequel, which is fine with me. Not every
It's too
movie.
late for a sequel now.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a sequel.
Well, actually, the problem is too. They might have to really change the story and the special effects.
The submarine's dead.
Yeah, you're gonna have to update the special effects, Alex.
I mean, it might actually have to be too complicated now to try to do a sequel, especially
Well, we know
after.
more about the body, don't we? You know.
Yeah. Well, especially after, Star Wars and Jurassic Park and all that. But considering that this came out before all those, visual effects, I mean, you have to start somewhere. You don't go from, negative 500 to 5 million in 2 years or whatever. So, considering what it was trying to do, it was very ambitious. It might be boring, but then again, it's you can't like we've said 100 times here, you
But
can't.
I enjoy that kind of
Right.
movie.
Well, no, again, maybe you want a slower movie. Not everything is up to 2019 standards, and it doesn't have to be. Especially if it wasn't even made in that decade, it's probably not going to be. So, considering what they were trying to do, considering that there wasn't a lot of competition, considering that a lot of movies were B movies or Green Aliens or whatever, this was actually a big step in a different direction. I mean, it's not great, but at least it tried something different. It was trying something new, especially considering it's 1966 when it was made. I mean, that's pretty good. So, I mean, it's, hopefully everything, if it's good, inspires and encourages the future decades or the future timeline to be better. And I think except for the dialogue of the characters, this was actually, a very good movie in theory and concept. It won awards. It made money. It just wasn't a big blockbuster. And they don't all have to be. And they can make money decades afterwards. I mean, horror movies do it, and other films do it. So I mean, I think we're being a little hard on it.
Sorry. What's your score?
I'd give it a 9 for the inspiration, not for the cast. Even though I like Donald Pleasance and Raquel Welch, the dialogue was lacking, and that's why it's not getting a 10. But like I said, it's a high concept movie if you think about it.
And I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
That's low for you.
It's in there. That's about. It wasn't terribly boring. But I also didn't have a whole lot of. I didn't. The cast wasn't for me the thrill. So
they weren't charismatic.
they weren't they weren't as cool as other movies I could mention. But let's just drop it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Let's go to Lee.
And I too, I checked the motion picture. The concept was good. As I say, the only one in the cast I liked was Donald Pleasance, to be honest. As I say, it's enjoyable once they get into the body, but as you say, it's dated now. It hasn't dated well, but for me, I still enjoyed it. But it gets a 7 as well.
Oh, so we've got 2 7s and a 9. Yeah, well, I'm going to give it slightly lower than a 7. I have to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I've said what I think of this film. I definitely won't be watching it again. Doctor Who did it far superior with the introduction of K9, of course.
Both times.
Yeah. But, well, no, yeah, Into the Dalek is definitely better than this as well, yeah. And parodies have done it better as well. The Simpsons did it better. I'm sure there's other parodies, like I say, like Family Guy or something's probably done it a million times. But I was disappointed with it, yeah. I got to admit, I was disappointed because I thought, you know, it is known as a classic film, but it's not known... Now I know it's not known as a good classic film. It's a cult film that is bad. And it's got some, like I said, the acting is pretty much awful in it. It's like pretty low bar acting with the dialogue, and everything is so slow. It's gonna have to get a 4. It's gonna have to get a 4, and it's a shame because I thought it started off quite interesting with a car chase and things like that. You got that man, and you're thinking, well, what's going on here? And you know, and I hoped it would get going, but I just feel like it never really did. I mean, Lee said it did. I still don't believe it really got going. And I was still bored.
I say a lot of things, but you never believe me anyway.
Yeah, no. Well, that's true, yeah. Well, you're a Yorkshireman. Nobody else does.
And you're a Welshman. Go figure.
Yeah. But we won today, so yay. We beat you, English.
What?
That's the rugby, by the way. We beat England in the rugby. So there you go. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. And I've got no more to say on it. Not watching it again. And Lee, can we stop picking bad stuff? I mean, we've had 2... this is the 4th thing I've not liked, or the 5th thing in a row that I've not liked now.
Can I just say something? All the others you picked.
Starsky and Hutch, Lupin, what was the other cop drama we had? Can't even remember, it was that bad.
Cracker or Monk?
No, I wasn't here then. Wasn't here for that one. I don't know, I can't remember, it was that bad. But yeah, so I'd like to thank everybody here for joining me. I'd like to thank you for watching. Alex is giggling away there. I don't know what's got him giggling. Susan's done something. So look after yourself. Take care. We will see you next time.